The more he opens his mouth in front of the microphone, the more he commits to spending money on creating new problems instead of resolving existing problems. Welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katlego and would appreciate it if you subscribed, liked, and shared this video with other citizens. Any reasonable person will tell you that when you own a car or a house, you don't just use it, you also clean it, you protect it, you service it or maintain it and cherish it. Based on this clip, Panyaza Lesufi seems to not comprehend what it means to own or maintain something.
We've just signed an agreement that will see the Gauteng government buying back 18 private hospitals in our province.
You're going to buy the hospitals? Back from who? What do you mean buy back? Who did you sell them to and when did that even happen? Are we back to the lies again? The Gauteng government never sold a hospital and no one said, please buy us some hospitals. Even if you mean to go ahead with your NHI plans, why are you rushing to buy what the private sector has managed to make work instead of starting with fixing the public hospitals that you have allowed to fail? The way the ANC are doing and saying crazy things shows that these elections are really scaring them, hey? Has he even seen the state of government-owned hospitals? Has he or his family been admitted into a government hospital? Some of us have been several times. And based on what we experienced and what you are saying, you sound like a delusional man.
And we will convert them to public hospitals so that we are ready for the national health insurance. This investment with National Workers' Fund, we believe, will go a long way to ensure that our health system is improved in our province.
How do you honestly think that buying private hospitals and turning them into public hospitals is going to go a long way to ensure that our health system is improved? Where do you get the idea that to fix the health system, you need to waste more of our tax money buying hospitals from the private sector? If you have a car that has not been serviced and is thus constantly breaking down, its lights are not working, its tires are always flat, how does buying a well-serviced and maintained car from your neighbor improve the status of your neglected car? How? There are people who drive cars that are over 30 years old and those cars perform better than cars that are 5 years old. Why? Because some people care for their possessions better than others. Some people never miss a scheduled car service. They never give their cars to incompetent mechanics. They put effort in preserving what they have. Consequently, it lasts longer. I'm not a politician. There's a lot of political stuff that I don't understand. But here, even I can see that what is being proposed and suggested is backwards and makes no sense. How can buying private hospitals without maintaining the many public hospitals improve the healthcare system? I know you're campaigning and desperate to convince, but at least respect us enough to come up with better and more sophisticated lies, comrades. What kind of reasoning is this? I think I give the comrades too much credit sometimes. I mean, you tell yourself there's no way these men and women could be so dim and incompetent. They have to be evil. But then you realize that not only are they evil, they actually have no clue how to fix the problem, even if they wanted to. And this is very, very worrying and increases the importance of ensuring that we share the knowledge with more people so that all of us come out in our numbers on the 29th of May 2024 to get the ANC out of power before they do even more damage. The Gauteng province had 37 hospitals as of 2022. On top of that, they have 281 clinics. Why are you not working to improve the health system in these 318 health facilities? I'm happy that you're seeing that the private sector is performing way better than the public, but instead of buying them to get them to be like the public, why don't you learn from the private sector? Why don't you involve them and adopt the processes that allow the private sector to be better? Hire experienced CEOs and managers. Inspect and audit your facilities. Note the non-compliances. Identify due dates for rectifications. Act on the findings. Appoint competent people. Not black people, not white people, but competent people. Like the car example, don't buy your neighbor's car thinking it will automatically improve your neglected car. Rather ask your neighbor, so how do you ensure that your car is functioning so well all the time? And implement that advice. Buying 1,000 cars and not maintaining them does not make sure that those cars are functioning better. It only means you have 1,000 unserviced and unreliable cars. Last year alone, there were more than 7,000 avoidable infections in Gauteng's public hospitals. 7,000. Why is that not on top of Panyaza Lesufi's agenda? Do you not know that due to these avoidable issues, you as the ANC government are allowing us as taxpayers to lose potentially more than 20 billion to claims because of such avoidable injuries and deaths? Do you need to buy private hospitals to prevent avoidable infections and billions in claims to patients whom you hurt and injured? The fact that you have no security in your own public hospitals shows that you cannot be trusted to oversee even one more hospital, much less 18 private hospitals. Matthew Lani paraded your hospitals unhindered.
Which patient are you talking about? Ward 11, they are acute appendicitis. No, she's not going to theatre. Okay guys, this is my locker. Who wants to report it? Who wants to report my locker? Who? Anybody? Yeah. So she was referred yesterday from the clinic with an acute appendicitis. Then she was booked for theatre, but I re-examined her, did an ultrasound, and then her appendix is perfectly fine. However, she does have a inflammation on her gallbladder, which is indicative of a prognosis of an acute cholecystitis.
He made content and posted online and made comments on health matters within your facilities, pretending to be a doctor. Recently, there's a new one calling herself Dr. Zulu.
The Gauteng Health Department is urging the public to remain vigilant following the arrest of another bogus doctor. The latest arrest took place at the Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital in Soweto on Sunday. The suspect, who was wearing scrubs with the name Dr. Zulu, allegedly demanded a 700 Rand payment for medical assistance. And this comes months after social media influencer Matthew Lani was also arrested but later released for pretending to be a doctor. The public has been urged to report any suspicious activity. Because it's concerning, right, Motale, in the first place, for somebody to have access to a medical health facility, to be able to put on scrubs, to be able to have the outlook of somebody who is a medical professional. So
security is among the issues that should be on top of your priority list. Why is that not a priority to you, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi? Do you need to buy private hospitals to establish security in public hospitals? You need well-trained and well-managed security personnel exercising vigilance. Gauteng Hospital suffered from water shortages, resulting in more than 300 operations being cancelled. This happened just last year in 2023. If you cared about the citizens, that should be on top of the to-do list for you. You should have told us about how you made improvements to fight the issues I've identified above. Instead, you're coming to tell us about more ways you wish to waste our tax money. Are you aware that South Africa is servicing a massive debt? Do you think that there is money available for this purchase of 18 private hospitals? Robots are barely working. Potholes are all over the place. Buildings under ANC government are being hijacked in CBDs. What have you done about that? What action did you take to clean up Hillbrow? We can see what you're doing and not doing. Don't think you can trick us into voting for the ANC by promising to buy private hospitals when we can see the status of the public hospitals that you have. Focus on performing better. Focus on doing better with the hospitals that you do have. We as citizens can see where there is good governance. We can tell that this hospital is not well managed. That one is well managed. We can tell. You can buy a new hospital or stay with an old one. We can tell where incompetence is in charge. I went to my local hospital for a tooth removal and they told me that they did not have a dentist. What type of hospital does not have a dentist? And it's not because a dentist is on leave or recently resigned. No, they have not had a dentist for years. Why? A dentist at a huge hospital. When we go to public clinics and hospitals, we pack food, water, and a jersey because of the hours we know we can spend there due to nurse and doctor shortages. How are we having nurse and doctor shortages when we have so many qualified doctors unemployed? How?
A group of unemployed doctors have marched to the provincial offices of the Health Department in Pietermaritzburg. Last week, Health Minister Dr. Joe Phaahla cited budgetary constraints as the reason for the placement challenges.
These qualified medical doctors cannot find posts in public health care. Since January last year, the number of unemployed doctors has risen.
The doctor-to-patient ratio is far from what the department, WHO, recommends, which is 1 to 1,000 patients. Currently, our colleagues have told me that we are sitting at 1 to 3,000 patients. So we are here, we are available. We are available to work in rural areas. We are available to work anywhere in the country. We love our communities. We want to work for our communities and with our communities.
Unemployed doctors are calling for government to give locals first preference over foreign doctors.
The 200 somewhat posts that they make available is, first of all, not going to be enough for all of us to get a job. Secondly, all of the posts that are currently being advertised are advertised according to employment equity targets. So not everybody is given the same opportunity when applying for those posts. The other thing is bursary holders. There's a lot of bursary holders who are given first preference because of the debt that they have to the government.
The Health Department says among the issues related to the employment of doctors is the budget constraints.
Should such things not be on your priority list, Mr. Lesufi? Do you like it when people's families are killed or medically injured because of the poor services they receive at public hospitals? Do you like that people spend 3 hours waiting for a service that takes only a few minutes? Before you rush to waste our tax monies, focus on dealing with these and many other issues currently facing public health, clinics, and hospitals. You have too much of your work that is not being done. Focus on doing that. Don't come with your upside-down leadership here, please. Your own MEC for Health and Wellness complained about hospital CEOs who run hospitals like spaza shops, failing to understand the business etiquette to properly manage funds, supplies, and all distribution in public facilities. She noted how funeral undertakers alleged that a hospital had been handing over decomposed bodies to families because of the non-functional morgue refrigerators. Morgue refrigerators? Are you serious? Decomposed bodies. Before you rush to buy 18 private hospitals, what have you done about the reports from your MEC? What audits have you conducted on skills, qualifications, and experience to properly run and maintain these hospitals? Where is the action plan? Delegated to who? To be completed by when? How far are you with that? I gave birth to both my children at public hospitals because I had no medical aid. After the birth of my first child, I stayed in a government hospital that had showers whose floors were flooded with dirty water because the plumbing was not working, and hospital staff were aware of this. Do you have any idea how demeaning that is? When I went to give birth to my second baby, there were no beds. We had to sleep sitting on benches. Pregnant women ready to give birth sleeping sitting on hard benches.
Pregnant woman. How can this be correct? Can someone tell me, how can this be correct? Mothers on cold floors. So who's in charge now? Now I want to see someone in charge.
Doctors were not enough to perform C-sections, so we stayed there in that terrible condition days longer than we should have. And while there, waiting to give birth and after birth, bathrooms had no hot water for us to keep clean. If you can't take care of the hospitals and clinics you have, why do you need to take even more hospitals and clinics into your hands? Focus on being more efficient in your hospitals, please, instead of trying to damage everything for everyone. Your ANC government suffers from severe corruption and mismanagement among many other issues. Should you not focus on that first before you think of buying hospitals? Millions lost to shady tenders, buying overpriced food from shady tenderpreneurs again. Babita was assassinated for what your hospitals are still doing today, this corruption rubbish. Again, what have you done about that? Have you fixed the corrupt tenders? Just last year, the Gauteng hospitals were failing to pay suppliers within the stipulated 30 days of service being rendered. This caused shortages of medicine, affecting many patients that depend on our hospitals and the medicine they provide. All you have to do is make sure that payments are happening on time. But what have you done regarding that before you want to buy 18 private hospitals? Please, please, please stop acting like you're special here, wanting to fill up your plate with more when you can't even eat what is on your plate right now. Window repairs, plumbing, repairs, painting, and all the issues, man. Stop campaigning for a second and focus on getting the job done. This is exactly what happens when people are handling money they did not work for. This is exactly what happens when people commit to serving people when in reality they have no love or no concern for the people. This is exactly what happens when leaders do not have a clue how to address the problems in their organizations. Incompetence is evident when someone like Panyaza Lesufi, in a management position, fails to identify the failures in his leadership and his party, and instead wants to take the same upside-down management style to spread the disease of no morals, no logic, and no competence to even more areas like the private healthcare area. Rushing to fix a problem he doesn't have and ignores the big problems staring him right in the face. Please, 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 if you are still in doubt about whether to vote for the ANC or not, watch this and other videos again and think long and hard about the well-being of South Africa and her citizens. Please share this video, like it, and subscribe. I'm Katla. This is Citizen Concerned. Until next time, beware of the comrades.